So we do this practice, the concentration practice, particularly the breath awareness. It really helps us develop good, strong concentration meditation. Concentration meditation has its own path, and we could say its own fruit, which is with the breath awareness, some of the fruit is the experience of jhana, absorption. And but also developing this level of meditative concentration can then be applied to other practices. Most of the practices I teach, the folks that know breath awareness will include a few minutes of that in preparation for the meditation to help sharpen the focus of meditative concentration and apply it to whatever other practice is being done. So it's really a worthwhile experience. The way that it works with concentration meditations, and again, that's the samatha portion of Buddhism, which is called concentration meditation, purification of mind, tranquility, serenity meditation. And these are intended to both steep us in tranquility and serenity, at the same time to orient us away from the normal story of me, the personality workings, the psychological structures, all of that. We're prioritizing the breath over all else in awareness or experience, in perception, awareness, or experience. So whatever's going on, my knee is hurting, somebody next to me is coughing, I'm trying to keep my focus, my attention on the breath in this region. That's the job. And it's a very subtle object. People will often ask, well, why can't I do the breath in the nostrils, in the chest, in the abdomen? They're easier. And that certainly is true. They generally are easier in those locations. But we use this particular location, one, because it's challenging. So if we get concentrated, when we get concentrated, we really go deeper because it's a more challenging object. And the other is, as the practice develops, jhana can't arise unless we're concentrated exterior to the body. And I'll talk about that progression a little bit later today. So, as I mentioned, this is really an important practice. It's one the Buddha did himself. It was the first practice taught by the Buddha. If you were to show up at my teacher's monastery today, they would start you off with this practice. This is where everybody starts. If someone can't do it, they might be moved to another practice, but this is where everybody applies themselves. So the main instruction here is to focus on the breath in the Anapana region. So you want to focus on your breath in this moment, in this location. That's important. We don't take the breath as an object anywhere else. We prioritize the breath over all else. So anything else that's going on, thoughts, memories, again, environmental noises, anything that's happening, it doesn't matter what's predominant. In some meditations, awareness follows the most predominant perception. In this practice, the breath is always the object. We never take anything else as an object. We don't take any of the benefits or the byproducts of the meditation as an object. We stay right with the breath. So we're trying to orient ourselves to the present moment as much as possible. So we want to be here. Most people spend a large portion of their mental process rehashing the past, going through reminiscing, feeling remorse, regret, and then other folks will spend time, or the same folks will spend another about 40% of their time in the future, typically planning, wanting to anticipate and plan for future events to minimize problem and to increase satisfaction. But we're orienting here to this breath, to this moment. And that's quite important. We want to rest on the breath when we're with the breath. We're not investigating the breath, meaning we're not trying to discern any qualities or characteristics of the breath. We don't care the temperature, we don't care the flow. Any other ways that we could analyze the breath are not part of the practice. The same way that we're being together right now, we're simply hanging out, we're not trying to do anything, we're just here. This is the same way we want to be with the breath. You just want to be with the breath in the most simple way you can. It's important to discern that in being with the breath in Anapana region, we're not using the skin. We will initially include the skin as part of our awareness of the breath. But as we go deeper with the practice, we want to be clear that we're staying with the breath as though it's lifted off of the skin ever so slightly. And that the reason I'm telling you this is it allows for a deeper concentration when you can be with the breath, not including the skin. Again, it's not a big deal, so you don't need to work hard at it, but just try to concentrate enough that you're picking up the breath and not the breath on the skin. If you know other practices, other jhana practices, other concentration practices, I'd ask that you put those down for today and just stay focused on what we're doing. I'm going to teach you in a very specific way, and I'm going to guide you through the jhana meditation several times today, so you'll get an opportunity to go deeper in this practice. So whenever we do this practice, again, the way I teach it, we start by settling our body, really feeling ourselves in a grounded environment, a safe environment. Then we start with the hara in the belly, getting grounded, settled in this moment, in this body. Then we come to the heart, we open to the innate goodness, the love that's there. We steep in that when we feel like that's well established. Then we're going to come to the wisdom eye, which is in the center of the forehead. This is another chakra, and it's an important chakra to include. The wisdom eye, as it's called in Theravada Buddhism, can play an important role in the jhana practice and other meditations. It helps develop inner senses, sight, sound, taste, touch, hearing, etc. And so it's an organ of perception. We want to include that as well, activate and include that. And then finally, we'll go to the top of the head, the crown chakra. And this is a chakra we want to include because it's a kind of a portal. And there are 8 jhanas. The first 4 are called form jhanas. They're experienced in the physicality of the body. And the upper jhanas, as they're called, the 5th through 8th jhanas, are talked about as formless realms. So a realm is an experience that's outside of our normal here experience. And so we journey to the realms, the formless realms, through the crown chakra. So I include that as part of our preparatory meditation before we come to the breath. So just to give you a little sequence on that.